welcome back to the podcast. We've started like a new series, and we're going to be talking about like some of the greatest entertainers, sportsmen, just the phrase which has been coined recently, the GOAT, and the greatest of all time in different industries. When we talk about them, and we thought, why not start off with the GOAT, the the GOAT to most GOATs, which is Michael Jackson. And yeah, I know quite a bit about Michael Jackson. I'm quite interested in him. I've done my own like research on the side, and yeah, so I thought we'll talk about him. And first off, I'm going to start off by asking Samad, where do you place Michael Jackson?
In terms of, what do you mean?
Like a GOAT list. If someone said, think of a GOAT, does he come into your mind?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
In terms of the music industry is definitely one of the top.
Yeah.
One of the, yeah, I would say one of the, because he's who doesn't know Michael Jackson? You know what I'm saying? He's like it's almost like a brand that everyone knows him, innit?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, man. I would definitely place him up top. He's up there with the greats, man, 100%.
But then this is the question which people ask: was he the most famous person to ever live?
Most famous person?
Yeah. Like at his peak, was he the most famous person?
Could you think of anyone more famous?
I mean, apart from the Queen.
And Michael Jordan?
But the way Michael Jackson was treated and the way he'd have to leave the house and things within that realm, he was treated like royalty.
Yeah, I agree. No, I wouldn't say he's the most famous person, but he's definitely he's a higher level. You know what I mean? I would say he's up there like Michael Jordan and
Like above A-list.
yeah, 100%, man, 100%.
Yeah.
You know who would you say A-listers right now?
A-list
Like Leonardo DiCaprio. You got Leonardo
actors.
DiCaprio, actors like that, yeah. But then you got Michael Jackson up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
100%, man. 100%.
One story that relates to that is Michael Jackson. He told this story before. To go, he couldn't go shopping. You know, that's just the thing. You can't go to the corner store and shop. So once, what he did was he rented out the whole shop, so he could shop by himself, and his like management or him, they paid people to act as if they were in the shop, so he could have as close as he could to a normal experience in a shop.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. A normal interaction he was going for.
Yeah, so he just go up to people and talk to them. They're paid actors, but he wants to just in some way experience the because his fame started at like the age of 8. He was 8 years old, around about 8, when he became
part of the Jackson 5.
Jackson 5, yeah, literally.
Yeah,
I remember one story he told was all the kids. Everyone thinks he's famous and it's all great, but he said going to the studio. There was times when he'd cry before going to the studio because all he wanted to do was go to the park across the road and play like a normal kid.
Yeah.
So it's so he hit this level of fame, which I don't think anyone else could experience. I think in the modern day, we're talking the only people who can probably touch that is like Drake.
But even then, Drake wasn't famous when he was young, like he was.
Yeah.
The Jackson 5 is one of the most iconic bands. They started when did they start? 1965.
Probably.
Literally, like they've been around longer than any artist have been. Michael Jackson, what year did he pass away? 2006.
2011.
Oh, 11. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was 11. I'm pretty sure, and he was 52 at the time he passed.
That's crazy. I didn't know he was that old.
Imagine he announced a world tour at 52, and you know how his performances, he's not just singing, he's dancing. He puts on a whole show.
Yeah, he puts on a proper performance. That's one thing he's most iconic for, is his performances. He would tap his foot and he would have the whole of the audience shook.
Yeah, that happened at the Super Bowl.
Movement. What person do you know that can do something like that? That's actual power that he has.
Yeah,
and the influence he has.
It got to the point where it was like the power he had was almost scary at one point. 100%. Like imagine having that much power, and in reality, like he's a performer. He's just doing what he loves on stage. Yeah,
he's same as us, man, just with a good voice.
I mean, you said he was like iconic, like the performances. What would you say? What's like the most iconic thing about him? Like when someone says Michael Jackson, what's the first thing that comes to your head? Bar his
I'll tell you what. You know what, that dance move. You know the one where he's like he does that weird thing where he faces forward.
Where he stands. Oh, where he leans forward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
was
pretty
thinking
sick.
of that.
I was thinking like the
He was a
glove on
wicked
one
dancer.
hand,
Hmm?
the glove on one hand.
Oh yeah, okay.
Do you actually want to know the story behind that? So
Go on, enlighten me.
you know he had the skin issue called vitiligo, where your skin eventually turns white over time. The pigmentation is destroyed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it started off on his hand, so his hand was turning white, and obviously he was doing a big performance. He didn't want anyone to see it, so his sister said, "Oh, just put this glove on," and then he just kept the glove on ever since then. And yeah, so it just became iconic. And I'm pretty sure Johnny Depp bought one of Michael Jackson's gloves when they went up for auction for a ridiculous price. I don't know
That's
if that's
great.
a fact, but yeah. So, but look, like Johnny Depp went out of his way to buy a Michael Jackson glove. Johnny Depp is in many eyes considered a goat.
I know, no.
So this is like, you know how they say he's that your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. This is like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I know what you mean. I
it's
know
like
that.
in that case, your goat's goat,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
see that. I
there's
see.
not many people like that. Like
I couldn't be able to think of anyone else that is that high in terms of influence, especially among music.
the closest thing we have to like nowadays is it's a Bruno Mars or a Drake.
Mm.
But I think the thing with Bruno Mars is he doesn't drop as much. Like, Bruno Mars will drop a tune and then he's gone.
Even so, I'm pretty sure Bruno Mars looks up to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he does. He does. He has a cover of Michael Jackson's song "Dirty Diana" before he'd blown up. Like before
Mm.
Bruno Mars had blown up. Yeah, uh, massive inspiration. Even the weekend, one of the weekend's biggest inspirations is Michael Jackson. Chris Brown's biggest inspiration, Michael Jackson, and
He's everyone's. Honestly,
yeah,
he's everyone's.
Drake as well. Drake got a sample on his album Scorpion. He got a Michael Jackson verse. I don't know how that worked. He must have paid for it. Um, Obviously this was after Michael Jackson passed. He got a Michael Jackson verse on his song. Like not many people know about it, but like now that I'm telling you this, it's kind of surprising that more people don't know.
Yeah, no, I see that. I see that. You know what? I didn't know, to be honest.
But so, what would you say Drake needs to do, or like, would it ever be possible for Drake to reach Michael Jackson's level?
You know what it was? It was Michael Jackson's level is that people had grown up with him whilst he was singing his music. From Jackson 5, you would be. I'm talking about the older generation here because
Yeah,
that's what he was most iconic with, wasn't he? I
yeah,
mean, even with our generation, he's iconic. But with the
yeah.
old generation, they see him to a much higher level than we do because they've seen him grow from a child to a man.
Literally, yeah. Like they've
So
seen his whole
the only
growth.
way that could ever happen with someone like Drake is as he continues to grow, we grow as well, and we would watch him progress into an actual like a talent that's beyond measure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Michael Jackson had that. He had the personality. He had the moves. Not necessarily the looks, but everyone praised him, didn't they? You know what I mean?
That's a
But yeah.
different situation. I mean, he actually, do you know the reason for much of his plastic surgery was his dad used to call him ugly all the time when he was younger, and he obviously his dad abused him, and I think everything, literally anything you think of, his dad did to him when he was younger. So when people talk about he had a messed up childhood, which is people use it in the arguments to support. Because I don't want to go into the allegations because
Yeah.
we're talking about like his successes. We're not going to
Him
talk
as an
about
artist.
yeah, we're not going to talk about anything that's hindered his career because there's no point. But yeah, I mean,
I would say
it,
though,
gone.
just to like just the tip of the iceberg. I see where he's coming from because as a child he never had any
No child.
normal experiences as to what a
Yeah,
child would have, and
yeah,
he missed that. So it's understandable for him to crave that kind of experiences as he got older.
yeah.
That's just
Like a sleepover is a big deal for him. Like that's pretty much
yeah,
it.
yeah, I know
But
what you mean.
I guess people can do their own research on that and believe what they want to believe. But yeah, I was also wanted to talk about. So there was actually a thing with Princess Diana when he came to England to do a performance. Obviously, we know about what happened to Princess Diana and everything. And you know how there's many stories about Princess Diana and how she was a very nice woman actually, and which is
Hmm.
why it's extra sad the fact that what happened to her. So, like, as I mentioned before, he has a song called "Dirty Diana." One of his, in my opinion, that's my favorite song of Michael Jackson. So her name is Diana, Dirty Diana. It's a bit of a sticky situation there. So when he wasn't going to perform it. He met her backstage and said, "Don't worry, I won't perform the song." She said to him, "No, I want you to perform the song. It's my favorite song. So make sure you perform that song for me." And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like she's royalty, and she's asking him to perform this song. So it's like the way he could just mesmerize anyone.
I know what you mean. I know
No
what you
one
mean.
else has that. No one else has that
There,
ability.
there is no one outside of his reach that he can't get. I mean,
And
who hasn't listened to Michael Jackson?
yeah, exactly. And I think, like everyone says, his performances, no one can match his performances. It's like we see with all the other greats. It's the hours they put into their practice. It's like so much hard work goes into like him rehearsing a performance is the same as a basketball player training, football player training. Like he's not putting in any less work than a Ronaldo.
Would you say he had the best talent in terms of all musicians?
Yeah, I think he's the most talented musician to ever live. Yeah, Uh,
'Cause he can sing. He can sing.
but then this is when we talk about nature or nurture. Everyone talks about that how a kid is evolved through nature or nurture. That's like psychology and everything. He was nurtured by his dad, like forced to sing at the age of 8, the lead singer on a global scale at 8. So not many people have that opportunity. Wouldn't say an opportunity. He said himself, Michael Jackson said himself, "I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for my dad." So I love my dad, even though he used to abuse me and swear at me and everything. So it's like, yeah, he was the most talented, but then that talent was developed in a way I don't think other people would
Would have
want.
been able to do so.
Yeah, I think it's such a unique situation. You know, uh, this sounds so crazy, but I also think one of the most this isn't there's no bias in this is a genuine thing is I think one of the most talented people artists to ever live is Juice WRLD. I think like God-given talent, no one else on the planet could freestyle for a whole hour and not repeat themselves. But that's besides the point. But that was just a question when you said, is he the most talented to ever live? I
Yeah, yeah.
personally think so. The way his vocals, and again, yeah, no, definitely most talented. He started he kind of evolutionized the way of singing and dancing at the same time. I mean, how many times you see
100%.
performers nowadays they've got the mic, they're just walking on the stage and there's no dancing to it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. He brought showmanship to the table. Honestly,
Yeah, that's literally the best way to put it. Like, he changed the game. He changed the game, and anyone who changes the game cements themselves in history.
100%, man. 100%.
I mean, like you were saying, the way he would just put a foot down and the whole crowd would go crazy. Like, what do you
Honestly,
think?
people would faint at that. Honestly, I've seen videos
People
of
get
him
carried out,
literally.
yeah.
He'll look at you, and honestly, people will be memorized just by that one experience of what
What
this guy did.
obviously we weren't fortunate enough to be at a concert or anything, but what do you think was the what do you think it was that people were mesmerized by?
Honestly, just the experience, because he could bring that experience. It's a one in a lifetime thing, an opportunity that you could get throughout any other concert. His one is just different because he heightens your senses in terms of um you're overwhelmed by what he's performing and
Yeah,
how he's doing it. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think overwhelm's like a perfect word.
Honestly, when you hear a good singer singing, it gives you goosebumps, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely
You know what
does.
you mean? When someone hits that note so
Vocals, yeah,
perfectly,
vocals, yeah.
honestly, you think, wow, this is raw talent. But then when he added his performance to it, it just goes over the top. You know what I
I mean,
mean?
I mean, imagine you with hair when he's just you're just like, oh, you're already mesmerized. This is a Michael Jackson performance, once in a lifetime. Then he does a moonwalk, which you've never seen in your life before. And then little do you know, when that move first came out, that move's going to live on forever. Remember that, like okay, people might not know Michael Jackson anything about him, but you know the moonwalk.
Yeah, 100%.
And like people, cutting shapes, like the dance there, where people cut shapes.
Yeah,
Surely
yeah,
that part of that's from that, like kind of comes from the moonwalk, the way he moves backwards and like because his main thing of his dancing was his foot movement.
yeah, yeah.
That one of the most like talented dancers as well. And I don't think he even had dancing lessons, if I'm not wrong. It was just so it was like
I
But I
think, to
think
be honest, that was him tapping into his like, well, I wouldn't say childish, I'd say like childlike behaviors for him to explore his kind of footwork. You know what I mean?
well, he just said he would just follow the music. Like it sounds like one of them things you just hear, oh, like a cringy thing, you just follow the music. But I mean, that's what he said. And he said, I just because some people are like, I can't dance, and he said just put the music on and just dance. Basically, that's what he does.
Yeah, man.
But like, yeah, his rehearsals are insane. He's basically just like an athlete, and I think then Beyonce, that's how she, let's say, rehearses for songs. So that's come from Michael Jackson. So I'm saying he revolutionized like the performance, but then also the work ethic behind like music, making a song.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. I see that.
I think we appreciate that in the artists we see now.
Hundred
Like,
percent.
don't they say the highest level of greatness is inspiring others? Yeah, when you inspire like a whole generation, then this is why I thought for the first episode we have to do Michael Jackson because you could do, but the next episode might be Kevin Hart because we did like a random pick. But I guarantee if you had a conversation with Kevin Hart, he'd say one of his inspirations is Michael Jackson.
100%. hundred
Yeah,
percent.
so it's just like you've got to go for the top
Eddie Murphy is like the top of the
comedy
like
game.
comedy game. Yeah.
Yeah,
And who did he love? Who did he love? Michael Jackson.
yeah,
Chris Tucker loved Michael Jackson. Honestly, the way that he's influenced a different range of performance,
yeah, and
comedians.
not just musicians, like entertainers. Yeah,
Hundred
everyone.
percent. These could be. I've heard Chris Tucker, I've heard Kevin Hart, and I've heard um Eddie Murphy all talk about Michael Jackson, the way he's just influenced the whole of performance arts. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's taken it to a new direction that other people wouldn't think was possible, but he's done it, and
yeah, no,
that's why he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest.
yeah. Arguably, I think that the people put next to him is Prince, but I personally don't know like anywhere near as much as I know about Michael Jackson. Like it's Prince. So
Here's another thing: you can't compare the two because one generation knows Prince and the other does not. And I'll tell you for 100%, everyone in that generation will know who Michael Jackson is, and not much will know who Prince is. Prince, that he had a style. You would say he was in competition with Michael Jackson, but I wouldn't say it was competition. It was more like following
friend,
what he's doing.
well, they say it was like a friendly competition.
But we know who's better. We always know who's better. It was Michael Jackson, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well,
Michael
because
Jackson.
I think Michael Jackson's name lives on for longer, in my opinion. And
Yeah,
that's
certainly.
again, it's not a bias, which is I think that's just a fact. I mean, you're still gonna hear a Michael Jackson song. You're gonna hear people sampling Michael Jackson song. How many Michael Jackson bars do you hear in songs? Like you hear Michael Jackson lyrics, like people referring to Michael Jackson in their lyrics to this day, and there's something special about him. I don't think anyone will ever be able to replicate like what he did
I
because
agree.
it was hard work. But as we said before, it was a unique upbringing, which, as we say, it's unique, so no one else can replicate. Yeah, pretty much pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, it can't be replicated. So yeah, pretty much. I just think, well, if Michael Jackson was still alive,
Hmm.
how big would he be? I always wonder that question. I always wonder how big would he be? Because imagine how big he was at one point. I mean, I was having a conversation with one of our mates, Dan. Right, I was talking to Dan, and Dan was making a joke that he got to the point where he could have taken over a small country and
Michael
actually
Jackson.
won a vote. Yeah, with the amount of fans he had, and like that's the level he was at. So imagine he was still alive. What do you think?
Michael Jackson was still alive. He would have. I reckon he would be able to tap into the younger generation, younger than us,
Is
because
he?
we already love. You know where we found the love for Michael Jackson was from our parents.
Yeah,
And from the people who taught us, from schools, from all sorts, that older generation sort of passed on that knowledge onto us. And if
yeah,
Michael Jackson was still here today, his performance would be crazy. Yes, he would be old, but it's a legend kind of old. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
he would 100% influence
is
the
he
younger
top in the
generation.
charts every time? Do you think to this? Like, if he was alive,
If he was alive, he would definitely be in the charts, 100%.
100%. Yeah, I don't think.
Because when people hear the word Michael Jackson, what you get is nostalgia from
Yeah,
what you used to enjoy from
and,
when he was around.
and people always say like, people do say though, if would he be this big if he hadn't passed away? I think he would have, because
Hundred percent. No, that's
some
the
people.
thing. That
Go on.
go on.
No, I was gonna
All
say
right, let me.
some people pass away and you know,
Their fame grows. I know
yeah,
what you mean. Their
yeah,
fame
yeah.
grows. Like,
Let's not. Yeah,
yeah, Lil Loaded. He was on 200K and sadly he's passed away, and he's flown up it to 400K followers.
yeah.
Why?
Basically,
Because of his death.
not giving the flowers while they're alive, but when they die, everyone just
Exactly. But the thing is, that's different with Michael Jackson because when he was living, he was already at the top.
yeah.
There's no
He was a
higher. There's
living
no.
legend.
He 100%. He was a living legend.
And
He
he
was
was
up there.
given his flowers while alive. Like no one underappreciated Michael Jackson when he was. I think everyone already appreciated.
And when the day he died, every single news channel, every single
That
newspaper, every form of news, old or new media was focused on Michael
no, it's
Jackson.
insane. You would have thought
Because
the
he's
Queen
up
died.
there. He's up there. He's like he
How
was the
old were we?
Muhammad Ali of entertainment
I mean,
in
how
terms
old were
of
we
music.
when he passed away? We would have been like what 9, 10
Yeah,
maybe.
nine,
It would have
ten
been the
years.
oldest, right? So I remember when he passed away. As a kid, I know who Michael Jackson is, but as I say, I didn't. I don't know anything in depth about him. I remember when he
Hmm.
passed away. We were driving somewhere, and I saw like a Michael Jackson sign, and it was flowers and everything left for him. I was like, I just thought he was British. I was like,
Mm.
he's being shown this much love in the UK. He must be
In a
English.
different continent.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
he must be English. And then when you go older, you realize this guy was American, but he was shown the same love all over the globe. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really shows you how far he reached.
Like when he died, you genuinely would have just it could have been the Queen. How much it was televised.
Honestly, that's a good point as well because there was a lot of musicians and whatnot in America, but who reached all these continents? You know what I mean? And
Michael
there's no
Jackson
one
was
that
the
had a
one.
reach like that.
It was something about him, and I wish we were this age during his prime. And I think we could have learned so much from him.
Mm,
Okay, if you want to say he's done some bad stuff, depending, but there's always a good in someone. He's taken good actions. And forget good, but you can anyone who's hit the peak of any form of a career, you can learn something from them. You're never
definitely.
too old to like take something off someone. So
Mm,
I've actually got one really cool story. Have I mentioned it to you? I don't know if I mentioned it to you. I mentioned it to someone before. So Zac Efron.
hmm.
So when he was filming for High School Musical, he went to a meeting with his manager and the rest of the High School Musical. Have I mentioned this to you?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So he was in a restaurant and the manager got a phone call and he picked up the phone call. And then Zac Efron was a fan of Michael Jackson, so his manager said, "It's Michael Jackson, do you want to come speak to him?" Zac Efron comes out the phone and goes, "Oh, hi." He was like stuttering. He was like, "Hi, Michael." Michael said, "Oh,
Yeah.
hi. Can I talk to your manager?" Basically, give the phone back to whoever. And then Zac Efron was already like mesmerized at that point. So when I sat back down, the manager put the phone down. About 2 minutes later, manager gets a phone call. Goes, "Zach, this is for you." And then Zac Efron goes and picks up the phone. And Zac Efron's like, "Oh my God, I'm such a huge fan. Like, you're the reason I do what I do." And Michael Jackson said, "Oh, I love what you do as well. I love High School Musical." And then he like kind of gave him like an inspirational talk. And then he said at the end, he goes, "Just remember, Zach, dreams do come true." And then Zac Efron put the phone down. And apparently, like, this is in front of a bunch of corporate people, puts his back on the wall and just falls to the ground. And he's like, in like tears of joy. Like, I mean, this is Zac Efron. Like, imagine High School Musical. You couldn't go a day without hearing that at one point in our lives, right?
100%,
Was
100%.
huge. But this is like, that's Michael Jackson, Will Smith said it as well. I saw a comment. When Will Smith met Michael Jackson, it wasn't. Will Smith met Michael Jackson. It was like Will Smith just in his eyes, he's a
It
normal
was
guy.
Michael Jackson's met another fan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the way.
legit. Yeah,
That's
legit.
literally it.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. Who else can do that now? I mean, because do you know what it is nowadays? I think actually this is debatable. I mean, what do you think about this?
Go ahead.
Do you think people are looking at these celebs? This is actually pretty obvious now. People are looking at these celebrities like gods now, aren't they?
They're definitely being worshipped to an extent.
But then
I
there's
would say.
also, I say, a sector of people like us. You view these celebrities like, oh, they breathe, they drink water the way they do everything the way we do it,
They're
right?
human like
And
us.
you
I
see
know
him
what
like
you
a
mean.
human. But I still think if I saw Michael Jackson, a different story. The same as same with Muhammad Ali, which we're going to do a podcast on soon. It's the same thing. You see these people, you know they're human, but there's something in your mind which you probably just stop thinking. Like, it's hard to
That
accept
they're
the fact.
beyond this. I
Yeah,
know what you mean. I know what you mean.
like I remember just seeing the Sidemen in year 7. It's just like I've only seen them for a screen. You see them in real life, you're like, this isn't even real. Like you
I
have to
know. I know. I
process
know.
it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
imagine meeting Michael Jackson. I think if Michael Jackson was still alive, he's everyone's favorite art. Like he's, when you have that discussion, oh, who's your favorite artist right now? I just think he's always at the top. But then do you think it makes it too hard for other people to succeed as well because he's too big?
No, no, no. I don't see that because there's always an audience that can be reached, and
Yeah,
honestly, the amount of consumption through entertainment it's almost limitless.
yeah, that's true.
Of course, you can listen to Michael Jackson, but there's always opportunity to go out there, to present yourself.
There's always slices of the pie left. Pie never runs out.
100%, 100%, hundred
So they
percent.
say.
There's always gonna be money in entertainment. There's always gonna be attention in entertainment, and you can't say that one person will dominate it because it's not a monopoly. It's more of
Yeah, it's just
just a
talent.
massive
If
competition.
you're good, and people listen to you. And he just
100%.
happened to be good to the point where the whole world listened to him. I think, no, I'm sure about this. Thriller, the album Thriller is the highest selling album to this day. No one's beaten it.
Hmm.
And when will someone beat it? Like, maybe when Adele, I think the only people who I've seen
Have a
Adele's
chance.
numbers. Yeah, she's the only person who stands any form of a chance, I think, is Adele. And I still don't think she'll beat it, but we've seen you know about Adele as well. Adele's on a different level when it comes to
Yeah,
numbers.
100%, hundred
But
percent.
this is the thing, like Michael Jackson was dropping he dropped a lot of music. Like look at Michael Jackson's catalog. If you look at compared to Adele's catalog, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. Michael Jackson's catalog is way bigger. So it wasn't like drop a song, you wait 5 years, you come back and drop another big song. This guy's dropping hits,
Hmm.
and this is why they make the comparison to Drake. You know how Drake's like carried the charts for what 10 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's where the comparison comes from. But you can't make the Michael Jackson comparison with anyone.
you can't. You honestly, you can't.
What
Obviously,
what would someone have to do for you to compare them to Michael Jackson?
I don't think there's a possibility yet.
Don't
I
think so.
don't. To be honest, I don't think there will ever be someone as great as them. Because the way I see it, we well, I actually never say never because when we get old, then we'll realize who fits where and why.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there's still time for no one. And see, Michael Jackson has lived out his career. Obviously, he's passed away and whatnot, but
yeah,
he reached a peak that no one has yet to
yeah.
reach.
Like the greatness, success, fame, money, talent, all of it.
He's reached that point, so we can only wait and see what will happen. Personally, I don't think it will happen with people such as these American rappers and like
Yeah, it's all
I wouldn't
shifted,
even
hasn't
say
it?
it would happen with Drake, to be honest.
Don't
I,
think
I
so.
wouldn't say Drake can hit that level because Drake is a singer, but he's not a singer like Michael Jackson. He's not a singer like Adele.
Actually, do you know
Adele
what
would
this
be.
this is the best way to give people our age put it into perspective. How big is Drake? Like Drake's the biggest thing.
Hmm.
Michael Jackson was like two, three. That Michael Jackson was 10 times what Drake is now.
Yeah, I know exactly.
That's ridiculous to even. It's difficult to comprehend that because we didn't experience it. But we're talking the greatest of the greatest, and I think doing this podcast, we're like giving our respects, like
Yeah,
we're
man.
appreciating him.
It's an appreciation video.
All of the podcasts we're going to do in this like series kind of thing is like appreciation podcast in a way, and then hopefully people can like hear the stories and things like this. We're going to be doing so many people, like we've got loads of names lined up, and we're gonna keep trying to evolve it and hopefully make them like, better every time. Hopefully we can get some more people on it. But in conclusion, how would you conclude it? What would you want to say about everything? What would you say?
I will say Michael Jackson is the 100% the most famous musician to be, and I don't the possibility of someone being as high or possibly higher than that is improbable. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it could happen, but the chances are just too slim. That's the way I see it, because Michael Jackson is something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say he's the one person in their field who the phrase GOAT is non-debatable. Where you could say Michael Jordan, whether you agree or not, people make the argument. No, LeBron James,
Mm,
for Ronaldo, people make the debate. Messi, Maradona, music. You
Michael
don't need
Jackson.
to know much about music, but no, if you say Michael Jackson the GOAT, no one's going to debate you.
Mm,
And if they debate you, they'll lose the debate very quickly. That's the best way to put it. With
agreed.
MJ,
MJ.
yeah. Any last words?
I'm speechless.
No, I mean it'll be. I think a dream would actually be like imagine going to his concert
Mm,
for real.
one day. I mean, you never know the possibility of holograms and whatnot could
I was literally
replicate
gonna say that like VR or holograms or something.
something
That,
like that. Honestly, it could happen. I could go to a Tupac concert soon.
Tupac. We never had
That's
Tupac's
what
name down on the list.
Tupac and Biggie, bro.
We actually didn't. Well, guys, look forward to Tupac and Biggie episodes. So yeah, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this. It's gonna be a new series. Hope you gained some appreciation for Michael Jackson if you didn't before. And if you're one of those people who just heard the rumors of what he did, and you just jump to the conclusion that yeah, he's this, he's that. Do your own research and then choose whether you believe it or not, because you don't want to. I say it's not good to just completely destroy a whole man's career in your eyes, a legacy based off something that you've heard and it's not been proven.